Assistant Professor in IIIT Delhi, and today I will speak about my experiences of research which I've carried out in past, which basically is about developing solutions to tackle computer frauds and cybercrime. So what I'll do is I'll take you through how do you select a problem which you would like to solve, because most of the time students has problem in finding out what could be a good problem to work on and how to solve it, right? So that's something which I thought would be very helpful for the students. As the speakers in the inaugural session talked about, that technology is everywhere. Technology is being used to do a lot of frauds, and technology is enabling new kinds of fraud. So it's not only the traditional frauds which are now seeing uses of technology, it's also the new frauds which are being enabled only by the technology. So there is a mix of problems with the technology which is coming forward, and we need to find the proper ways to select develop solutions to handle these kind of things. So we all see a lot of headlines in newspaper every day where a lot of frauds are being reported. So my the research areas are basically dependent on all the real life problems which are faced by all of us. So we see in newspapers and other places that lot of technological frauds are happening. Every day we see a lot of fake documents are being seized, lot of fake currency and any other document which can be faked are being reported. So what do we do about it? We all read all these kind of news articles, but we don't know what to do. Government may be doing some work behind the doors, but for a common man, finding out a document which he or she is using, whether it's counterfeit or not, is difficult. Also finding out like currency which you are using, whether you have a note which you are using is genuine or not, there is no way which you can probably know very easily. It's really hard job. So we have seen in past that lot of fake documents, including fake currencies, are being produced, and people also make fake documents like licenses and other things. So I'll try to address one problem, which is this. We have seen few of my friends are here which say that they are overloaded with the work in forensic labs. So we have seen the cases are piling up in forensic labs. It's one reason is they are understaffed, but there is one more reason: the technological developments are not reaching to the forensic labs. So most of the forensic labs are using tools which probably do not scale up with the technology. So you might have seen that every day there is a new phone launch. I have seen an era where I have used a computer which has a hard drive in MBs. My first computer which has a hard drive of 128 MB kind of thing. So what do you think is the hard drive size today? What is the minimum hard drive size do you have? So close to 1 TB is the average, right? Do you think all laptops have a hard drive? Do you think my laptop on which I am presenting have a hard drive? Yes, no. So this computer which I am using right now doesn't have a hard drive. It has a SSD, which is probably the next generation storage technology, solid state drive. So what's happening is technology is very fast. Technology is changing very fast. Hence, probably the security solutions as well as the forensic solutions are not scaling up. Every day we see a new launch of a phone. Every day we see a new feature added to the phone. So convergence of technology, which is that my phone today is my camera, is my video recorder, is my watch also. I don't wear a watch because all these things has been converged to a single device. So whatever capability my phone has today, that same amount of capability were there in my laptop 10 years back. So my phone is more powerful than a laptop which was there 10 years ago. So all these things are actually scaling up a lot of frauds. Technology, more people are using technology. Penetration of the technology is really deep into the grassroots. Lot of connectivity, we get 3G or 4G kind of connections today at a very economical price. Hence people are using all these things, and some people are maliciously using all these things. So number of people doing frauds are increasing, and since we do not have security technology scaling up in tune of the development of technology, there are not enough solutions to secure technology, and on top of it there are not solutions which are scaling up in forensic domain. So there are certain standard procedure which forensic people have to do. For example, they have to make a copy of a hard drive or a storage media which they have to investigate. That process takes lot of time. So I'll come to all these things, and I'm just trying to show that in newspaper we see all these things. So there are many problems which you can probably just pick up from the newspapers. In the sense, lot of problems are being faced by us. They are being reported in newspaper, and you can probably take them as research problems to solve. Fake mark sheet. How many of you have heard fake mark sheet or fake transcript related frauds? Ramjas colleges admissions, people took fake admissions. So let's say if Again, as population is growing, institutes are less, more number of people apply to institute. In an institute, if somebody has to verify the transcript of all the people who have applied, it's a tremendous task. It takes many hours or many days of many human beings. So it's very difficult for somebody to manually verify all these things. What do you think we can do about it? Let's see, if I am submitting a 12th class mark sheet issued by CBSE in some year, somebody has to either go to CBSE and verify it, or else they have to rely on what document I am showing them. I have a original 12th class mark sheet which I produced at the time of admission. They will just verify the photocopy matches with the original or not. But what about original being fake? I can increase my marks in original and then I can show it, because I know nobody can go to CBSE, because if you do that, in that case admission for next year has to start this year, because that much time is required to investigate that many students who are applying. So all these are some real life problems which are for which we probably want some solutions, and keeping those problems in mind, we I try to do my research and develop some of the solutions which I will talk about. So I will start with the document for a problem. A document which we use in our real life can be counterfeited, and counterfeiting can happen by multiple ways. Let's say I have a 500 rupee note. I'll probably use a scanner and then print it after scanning. I'll not print a 600 rupee note, right? I'll just replicate 500 rupee note. I will make multiple copies, because replication has the value. Whereas if I don't have a license, my friend has a license, I'll scan his license, change photographs, change the name, and then make one of mine. Right? So what I can do is I can either scan and reproduce, which is basically a currency kind of scenario. I can scan, change and print, which is I scan a license, edit it, and then print it. Transcripts, I scan somebody's transcript, change things. My own transcript, I change marks and print. Or else I can have, let's say I copy a bank check and then change some small thing. Let's say I have somebody has given me a bank check of bank check number 56, which is of 100 rupees. I scan it and change number 55 to 56, change amount from 100 rupees to 1 lakh rupees, and probably try to use that bank check in the bank. So these are the possible ways I can actually make a counterfeit document. Currency is a big problem which we have seen. Government has a lot of, recently there was in news that all the notes before 2005 will be withdrawn. One of the reason is they have less security features and easy to fake. So what we are trying to do is we are trying to develop a solution which can probably work on mobile phones also, including other devices, where you can take a snap of a note, and that application probably, let's say Android application which is running on your phone can tell whether the note is fake or not, just by doing some simple image processing. So that is the idea. So what we've seen counterfeit currency, postal stamps. Do you think postal stamps can be faked? Why will somebody fake a postal stamp? Or let's say if given opportunity you have to fake something, will you fake a currency note or a postal stamp? Currency notes, more risky. If you give a 500 rupee note to somebody, he will check it. On a single A4 sheet, I can print 100 postal stamps of 5 rupee each. That means on A4 sheet, if I can print 2 notes, I can print 100 5 rupees postal stamps, which nobody checks. Do you think postman checks the postal stamps whether they're genuine or not? You can still use them, right? They're valid, the form of using money, right? I can print as many as I want. So what people are doing, which is very disturbing, that they're printing documents which are of not very high value, but nobody checks them, but it is causing a loss to the government, because I'm printing fake postal stamps. License. I just scan somebody's license and then change whatever I want and print it. If somebody at the traffic police personnel stops me, I'll just give him a license and then say, okay, deposit in the court, and I will claim it back. Because that's not a genuine license. I have just taken a color print. So we need a solution which can work on probably a phone, so that the traffic police inspector or the person on the road can immediately check whether this license is fake or not. So right now there is no way until he goes, let's say license has been issued in remote state, let's say Meghalaya. So somebody has to send document there to verify. There is no way to check it online immediately in the real time. RCs, I steal a car, I scan an RC of my own and then change numbers and sell it as genuine. So all these problems are really big problems. So basically the question which we need to answer when a document is given to us, whether it is fraudulent or genuine, and if it is genuine then it's fine. If it is not genuine, then we have to find out whether it is tampered or completely reproduced. Or else completely reproduced means you have just made a replica, or tampered means you have changed something into it, a small portion of it. So we need to find out what is the tampering mechanism, whether somebody has used a color printer, laser printer, or a inkjet printer, or a multifunction machine and so on. Because let's say if an investigator is investigating a case, if we give him a clue that okay, this particular document has been printed by a laser printer, he can probably go and find out from the list of suspect who has the laser printer and can generate samples from that, and then we can use them to link this is the person who has printed these documents. So, current state of the art is people do chemical analysis, which is probably costly and destructive in nature. Forensics lab have instruments like VSC and microscopes, from which also they can always get a result, but it is expensive and it requires forensic experts' expertise. It cannot probably work for the large scale common man. But what we want to do is, can we make an application which works on a phone probably and can do it automatically so that no expertise is required, and it's very, very economical. Most of us has a smartphone, and if the application is there, you don't require a microscope or a VSC or a forensic expert to actually tell you what we would like to know in real time when we are using all these documents in the practical day-to-day life. So what we did is we did some experiments. Before that, there is something which is there in the printer, which is the inbuilt signature of the printer. If you see, most printers have something known as this kind of these yellow dots which they print, which are not probably visible to the naked eye, but if you put an incident light on this, you can see all these dots, and all these dots basically reveal what kind of printer it is. If I just decode it, it tells me this is this date and this is the serial number of the printer, and then I can find out this printer has been sold to whom, and then I can find out who has printed this document. But the problem with this approach is this is leaking privacy. If I print any document from my printer, it will have that this kind of stamp on that, and then I may not be very happy to reveal about me in normal cases. So most of the governments because feature, by we cannot rely on this feature, because this feature can be at the firmware level you can either enable it or disable it. But what we did is then we generated a lot of documents by scanning and printing by various printers to find out, is there an inherent signature because of the wear and tear of the printer and because of the mechanical nature of printing, which is there without any intervention, without any. So what we did is, this is a document which has been magnified using microscope, and these are the 4 fakes. So we produce 4 fake documents by scanning a document by 2 scanners, and then by printing by 2 printers. We got 4 images, and these are the magnified images. If you see here, we always get these dots. These dots are basically the noises which is because of the imperfection of the printer, which are getting incorporated because of the scanning and printing process. So detecting whether a document is genuine or not is very, very easy. After that, this is just some image processing algorithms. If you apply, you can differentiate this image from this, and you always know that document which has been which has been claimed as genuine is not genuine. Also, we can try to link it to the printers and scanners. If you see here, inside this printed part, dots are less in these 2 images compared to these. The density of black dots inside the character is much high. These are from the same scanner, and these are from the same scanner. Size of dot, if you see, is quite big compared to here. It's quite less and small and more in number. This is from printer number 2, and this is printer number 1. Similarly, if we can do this experiment with large number of printers and scanners, we can generate a signature of a printer and a scanner combination, and that can be used to link who is the person out of 8 or 10 or 20 suspects which we have who has printed this particular document. And this sustains on various kind of inks. These are the outputs for the laser printer. If you see, this is dots. Dots is a characteristics of an inkjet printer because ink is being sprayed by the printer. Whereas in case of laser printers, it's basically the complete paper which is coming in contact, and thermally we are printing it. So these scratches are because of those contacts of the paper with the printer, and you can always find out which particular type of printer has been used, which technology, it's inkjet technology or a laser technology, versus which particular piece. If given a printer, I can actually link it up which particular printer has been used in generation of this fake document. So these were some manual features, and then we use image processing tools to basically automate it. Now what can we do? Given a document, let's say there is a bank check under question, we'll just put bank check into a scanner, or we'll take a photograph of that bank check and pass it on to the software. Software will extract all the parameters and then do the image processing and can tell you whether the document is completely fake, which means printed, or else part of it has been printed. Let's say there is a stolen check, but the signature has been printed by the printer. Human has not done it, it's a computer printed signature. So if complete document is printed, it will tell computer complete document is printed, or else it will tell which portion of the document is printed, because signature is not supposed to be printed mostly until it is in some very, very specific cases signatures are printed. So the motivation was that high quality counterfeits, because of very cheap printers and scanners of good quality which are available in the market, because of that many people are making fake documents including currency. So this is the motivation, and we earlier it was a manual examination, no automatic method, and we thought we can do that. and we are also trying it to link it to the source, and it will save a lot of time and money because it's automated. You don't have to buy the systems, and you don't have to probably train somebody. It can only be done on the images. Maybe going forward, there is a proposal that banks will have automatic clearing of the checks with the image only. So maybe in future what we'll have is, we'll write a check, take a photograph and send it to the bank, upload it to the bank website, and then bank will process the image only. So in that case all these frauds are possible. So this system can actually take care of all those things also. In currency also, we print currency at multiple sources. So if we see, these are some of the features. This is something which is for the people who are specially enabled, who can't see. So this is raised. So from software we can identify whether this is raised or not, because on all the fake notes, this particular portion is not copied properly. That particular raised kind of printing is not possible in the fake currency notes. And if we can detect whether this is raised or not, we can actually say whether the currency which we have in our hand is genuine or not. So what we are trying to do is, we are taking an image and probably extracting all these features. Like if you see, this is under the UV light. So some of the visible range features which do not require UV kind of thing can be used to find out whether a document is fake or not, or whether a currency note which we are having in our hand is fake or not. So basically, the fundamental principle of criminology says that if there is an opportunity, people will do fraud. Over here the opportunity is availability of very good quality printers and scanners at a very, very reasonable cost, and also laws are not very strong, as well as there are no methods which can be employed on a mass scale to detect it. So I will make a fake document because I know nobody can detect it. If I know that there is a solution which can run on most of the mobiles, and by just taking an image I can find out whether it's fake or not, counterfeiter will probably not fake it, because then chances of their circulating the counterfeit currency is very, very less. So what we are trying to do is, we are trying to reduce opportunity by using technology to detect all these kind of frauds. There is one small work on steganography which also I thought will be interesting to demonstrate. I know all of you know steganography. So steganography is basically disguised communication, right? In case of encryption, I encrypt data which becomes jumbled, but I communicate that I am communicating secretly. But in case of steganography, I send you something which has a secret message inside. On top of it, you do not feel that this is a something which is carrying a information. So some fundamentals of steganography, basically it's dependent on intelligent ability of human beings. How do you hide data? How do you codify data? So there is something which I just thought to discuss. Can you just tell me what is this? What is drawn on the board? Lift. Can everyone see that? Now? Right. So most of you can now read this is lift, right? Even if I remove all these lines. Right. Why? Because earlier you were not expecting, you did not knew what to expect. But once I put those lines, you knew what is written there, and hence you can probably expect it. So basically, human brain and human eye perception and intelligence is the basic concept behind steganography. That if I know what to look for, I will look for it. Otherwise, I will most of the time I may or may not get it. So steganography is something where people are using this kind of perception to do frauds. I can show you one more example here, I think, which can. So this is a Word file, right? Anything unusual about it? Some fonts are some color documents, right? Some things are not visible probably. So what do you think it is? It is kind of a colored font report, right? If I do a simple operation here, I'm just changing the font size to 2. That's what I have done here. So do you think this is an image? Can you see an image? So is it an image? Probably yes, probably no, right? If this is an image, can I select it like this and delete partially? So what's happening here? I'll just increase the font size, and these are characters. So what's happening is, if I take a picture and I take the color of that first pixel and assign this color to first character of a report, and I can convert an image to a text file, which is a color text file now. So if you have a let's say I'm a company which is an embassy and I don't want my secrets to go out, For them, all the research which, let's say, people are doing in Renbexy are some kind of figures where they are drawing some protein structures, some new things which are probably of value, and they have a filter in their firewall which says no images should go out. I'm not sending an image. I can actually convert my image using steganography to something else and can send it out. How do we detect all these kind of steganographic solution? How do we detect all these things? So what we did is we found one particular case where people were doing this, and we wrote a small script which can actually identify all these kind of things automatically. So I'll come to that, and this is just brief about steganography, that it's basically metadata. Earlier people used to write with lemon juice or onion juice, put it under heat, you can see things, basically some kind of invisible ink. So today what people do is they use these kind of metadata information, that there is data in the file, but there is something within the file which is the metadata of the file which carries the secret message. So all this is the modern day invisible ink. So what we did is, for this particular kind of stuff, we found out that in a Word file or in any text file, if there is a very high number of color change, the file size, the original file size was 97 KB, which became 1.8 MB, which means number of characters present in a file typically have a relationship with the file size. But if that relationship is not adhered, that means there is something wrong about the file. Similarly, number of color changes are close to 30,000 in a single word file which has, let's say 5-6,000 characters. Number of change in characters is this much, which is a very huge number. So what we can do is, if there is any abnormal activity, there are some signs which are present in the data or metadata. You only have to find out those parameters which can be used to detect all these kind of things. So there is no generic solution for steganography probably, but you can always find out some generic classes of solutions which can probably work in these kind of scenarios. Now I will take one more problem, which is date and timestamp related frauds. For in our life, everything is timestamped, right? Today on this day and this time I have to deliver this talk, that was already fixed, right? I cannot come any other time. When I was born versus when when did I graduated, whatever we do in our life is probably dated. Without date and timestamp, events do not have any meaning, right? Let's say there is a call records. There is a computer fraud or cyber crime where call records are important piece of information. And if somebody tampers with that, what happens? You get the wrong meaning. For example, take a BPO firm. Let's say BPO companies have 3 shifts where people work in first, second and third shift. Somebody in the second shift does a fraud and changes timestamps to either first shift or third shift. What will happen? All the blame will go to someone else. Not only the person who has done fraud will be not found at all, but somebody else who is not the criminal will be implicated. So we need all the existing tools, forensic tools which are being used today commercially, only give you data. They say, okay, on this hard drive, this is the data. This file has been created at this particular point of time, and this has been modified at this particular time of time, and this has been accessed at this point of time. They do not tell whether this is right or not, right? File system, right? When I store a file, if you do directory listing or if you go and see the properties, it will tell you something like this. This file has been created at this time, modified this time, accessed this time, right? But if you see here, it says this file has been created in 2003 but modified in 2001. Can that happen? If you take this evidence to court of law, they will probably not accept it. You can't modify a file which has not been created yet. So until you understand how this has been done, until you have a tool which can probably find out why this information is being shown, because a criminal might have intentionally changed these data to give a wrong meaning. So we need a solution which can probably work with existing commercial forensic softwares which can explain these kind of ambiguities. So we are doing something on the file system, and this is a way people use some very simple APIs to change whatever they want. This is a normal thing, and we have written a small script using some commonly used APIs to whatever we want to change. We want to change creation time and date of this file. We can set whatever we want and say okay. What it will do? It will take this new data and overwrite in the file system. I can do the same in the phone also. Let's say in Android, it stores everything in SQLite database, right? If I have EDB enabled and if I have the root privilege on the phone, I can connect it to my laptop, download the database, and can tamper whatever I want. So there is an SMS which says that okay, class has been cancelled today. Some malicious student sends it, and then later on he changes the MAC details of that particular data from the mobile phone. Very difficult to prove who sent it. So all these things are possible, and there are since, as I told you, that technology is changing fast, there are a lot of opportunity for criminals. Similarly, there are a lot of opportunity for the security people as well as forensic scientists to develop new solutions which can actually solve these kind of problems, which can actually cater to the needs of the law enforcement agencies. So these are some of the things which probably can be taken up. So in this case, what we have done, we have enhanced the kernel. We have written a LKM, loadable kernel module, for Android phones. If let's say if there is a company which gives phones to its employees, what they can do is they can put this LKM into the phone while giving the phone to the enterprises. If anybody does any kind of malicious activity in the enterprise environment, all that can be tracked using this solution. So it's a very simple, very lightweight and very efficient solution which can actually work very good in BYOD kind of environment, where BYOD is bring your own device to the corporate. So all these things are very, very easy. The problem is we don't know the actual problem which we need to attack, and if we know the right set of problem, probably we can solve this. So future trends in digital forensics and computer fraud investigation are scalability issues. We have a lot of tools for individual problems, but they do not scale up. As I told you that imaging which needs to be done for a forensic investigation, where earlier I used to have hard drive sizes of 8 GB, 10 GB, 20 GB used to take few hours. Now 1 TB or 2 TB or 5 TB hard drive will take few days. So I have the tool, but that tool does not work fast enough. That tool has not scaled up in terms of development of technology of storage. Hence, if what I was investigating in few hours, I need few days to investigate, and that's why cases are being piling up. So what we want is, we want some innovative solutions where we probably only image data which is required for the case. Then we have, this is very important, which is gaining ground, in most of the Western countries, where let's say if I file a case against you, your laptop has everything which you have, or probably your phone also have everything which you have, in terms of your photographs, your videos, which probably have nothing to do with the case, right? You have done a money laundering case, but your laptop also has your wedding photographs. So money laundering file, which is an Excel file which contains the data about the money laundering, has nothing to do with the photograph which are there on the laptop. But if somebody is investigating your computer, he is having access to everything which you have on your computer. He will have access to your private data,